Hello, my name is Artem Levakov. Today with my team I will present our project called Forest Carbon Credit Evaluation. Firstly, let's start with the business problem and objectives. In our world, factories emit CO carbon gas, and it is quoted by government. They cannot exceed this quota, and if they do, they will be punished and get fees. So what factories do? They buy these quotas from other factories that didn't exceed it, or buy directly from special carbon farms. What is a carbon farm? Carbon farm is a like a area with trees planted directly to harvest CO2 using like photosynthesis from trees. So usually how it's measured, we have a area, we have a satellite image of this area, and physicists estimate based on their assumptions how much photosynthesis was taken and how much CO2 absorption was happened by these trees. The problem is this is very high uncertainty date results, big error like 30 to 50%. And considering the value for one CO2 ton absorption for about $10, it can give to $3 million easily in credit valuation. So our object is to make a prediction of photosynthesis directly from measurements on the trees to forecast it better and with a smaller error to have more money for the business. So this is our task. Let's see our data sources. The data sources is cowork of the forest test site in Sverdlovsk Oblast, Russia. We have three data sources. It's weather data from meteor station, it's photosynthesis data taken directly from trees, and gas data from a Picara sensor. It's called Picara, and it measures how much gas in the atmosphere itself. We want to again predict photosynthesis rate for the trees. It is in biological measure called UMOL. It's how much carbon dioxide gas was consumed by tree. The two species of trees called in Russian Yolka and Pichta. It's Norway spruce and Siberian fir. Here you can see the examples. It's like on the left is spruce, on the right is fir, and the device with what we measured, what photosynthesis was measured with. It connects to the branch of the tree and measures the photosynthesis in this branch. So we will predict actually photosynthesis for only one branch, not for the whole tree. It's a different thing. So we have three tables for data. Meteor data with temperature, humidity, wind speed, solar radiation readings, and also atmospheric pressure. Photosynthesis data, it's just photosynthesis from trees and measurements of gas data using Picara sensor. It's CO2, carbon gas, methane, and water in the atmosphere. One of the problem with the data is that time frequencies of sampling this data was different. For meteor data, the sensor worked for each minute. So it gave out each data for each minute. The gas sensor gave different time ranges from 2 to 6 seconds. And photosynthesis data was completely different. It was taken for one day only during whole months for some time, and it has different time ranges. You'll see it later. So, Mustafa, it's your.
Okay, so after like we had the data set, so we originally had the data set like in CSV files, and we needed like to load it, store it in HDFS and using PostgreSQL in order to work with it later. So the pipeline for like data ingestion was as follow. Like we started by having the CSV files, we imported them into PostgreSQL tables. We mainly had like three tables. One table for the metadata, like the weather data, Second table was mainly for the photosynthesis data taken from the plant. And in this table, we had like to make some change of the type of data, like from text field to other types, such as like time, date, numerical measurement, and so on. And also for empty fields in the CSV files, like we had the problem that like some fields are like empty string or none written as a string and so on. So like for empty fields in the CSV, we wrote them into null in PostgreSQL for easily like working with it after that. So this was like mainly for data photosynthesis and for weather. Can you go to next slide? So for the data of Picaro gas, this data was a bit huge. We had like around 8 million rows in this table for Picaro gas measurement. So what we have done is that like we mainly had 5 CSV files for 5 months, and we updated them like into a staging table, like for each CSV file. We did it like one by one. After loading like all tables to PostgreSQL, we exported them into HDFS using scope. So to decide what is the best like way for storing our data and compressing it, we tried different combinations. We tried like Avro storage with Snappy compression, and we tried like Parquet with the Snappy, and we tried Avro without any compression. And the result is, as you can see in the table, like based on this result, we decided to work with Avro and the Snappy because like it has like the lowest read time, and at the same time like so it has some balance between storage and time. Like it has less time than the other methods, and it doesn't consume much larger storage. So we decided this will be like the best combination to use for our project.
Okay, I will continue with a bit of the ADA. So one of the main things we found out is that photosynthesis really depends on the temperature for different species in our measurements. So we can see if the area is cold, for example, 5 to 10 degrees, spruce is better at producing, at consuming CO2 gas, so better photosynthesis. And if the temperature is higher, the fear is better. But actually, in the end, spruce is generally better than fear. So in all environment, you can just plant the spruce. It will be better. So what also we found? We found the biological things that we can see that trees is breathing actually. So the data photosynthesis could be with negative number because it releases the CO2. It's breathing thing of trees. Also, we found out that the data is non-linear. So the linear model will be bad. We'll see it later. What else? We found interesting correlations. We found out that methane gas strongly correlates with humidity and temperature. And also it has the strongest correlation with photosynthesis for spruce. So this means that with high temperature, the photosynthesis will be smaller. And we can actually see it in here because with high temperatures, spruce is worse. So, also, we found out that because of the different time captures, if we align by 1 minute or hourly aggregation, it will be much better than just trying to find usual merge. Okay, Ivan, it's your time.
Okay, as for the modeling part, we have here the task is to predict the regression of photosynthesis rate. We have random 60 to 40 train test split. Training set contains 1,500 samples, and test set is approximately 1,000. As for evaluation metrics, we have 3 metrics, and the last one is the explained variance. We used 5-fold cross-validation, and the main metric was root mean squared error. Feature pipeline, first of all, we index the categorical feature. After that, we do the imputation. then the variance filtering, and in the end, standard scaling for the gradient methods. As for the explored hyperparameters, we used actually usual hyperparameters for the linear regression, random forest, and gradient boosting. And you can see here that the more difficult tree was, better the results then. Let's go further. That is the interesting part. Model performance. Actually, since we have a very small amount of label data, we thought that we would be able to somehow do pseudo labeling, and after that, maybe we can increase the performance of the initial model. But in the end, it turned out that actually this pseudo labeling does not help. Did not help. And you can see here that the retrained random forest is worse than the original one. So we decided that the actually result of the original random forest is okay. Maybe it's not very good for the pseudo labeling, but as for the aggregation and counting the amount actually of produced photosynthesis, it will be, I think, okay. So the final model was a random forest. It explains about 77.5 variants of test set. It has pretty good metrics, and at the end, our business goal was to measure how much photosynthesis we can produce from one branch, and we actually did it. As for the whole amount of photosynthesis, it will be counted from biologists when they find the method to somehow approximately compute how many branches their territory have. We can move. About feature importance, we can say that actually it confirmed the initial assumptions about environmental factors and its importance. But the interesting thing is the atmospheric pressure turned out to be the most important feature, which was not expected. But as for other things like we have humidity, CO2, and other gases, and minute of day, it's pretty expected that it will be important for the final prediction. What challenges we faced? First of all, we had sparse target data, but at the end, our metrics are pretty good. So we assume that our calculations is approximately well. And what else do we have? We have a pretty difficult data in terms of nulls and data that is not presented. We also had the computing limits, like Hadoop cluster is a pretty difficult technology. And what about generalization? The model was trained on the forest plot, and that means that it may require recalibration for other locations.
Now we will show our dashboard. Okay, Mostafa, start from data description.
Okay, so for the first section of our dashboard, we have some overview of our dataset. So we mainly have like 3 tables, and you can see here like each table has a number of records in it. Meteo table is like it contains like the weather data. And then we have like a table for photosynthesis. It mainly contains like the value of photosynthesis and the type of tree from which it was taken. And for Picaro measurement, we have like measurement for like different gases in the air, and like the main readings like from this Picaro sensor. These are like the main 3 tables we have for the dataset.
Okay, moving to EGA insights. So, like the strongest insight we got is how much photosynthesis on which different temperatures are actually we got. we can see again the spruce is giving the best results on moderate temperature, like from 5 to 10 degrees. It's really small. Also, we found interesting correlations that is not very obvious. For example, that photosynthesis actually negatively correlated. It's a small correlation, but it's still negative correlated with amount of water in the atmosphere. It's very interesting for biologists, and they will do evaluations using this data. So what else? That humidity really affects and temperature really affects methane gas. Also really interesting for biologists. They can use this data for business later. What else? Photosynthesis for the measurements of photosynthesis was actually very small. We can see gaps in it in this time series plot, and one of the problems it was very noisy. It's general problem with photosynthesis as a data source and biological data as a data source. It's very noisy. It's really hard to work with. Also, we can see here that the problem with sensor of wind speed, it was broken for quite a long time, for months. We don't have like 30% of the values. So for the business, it's means that they need to have safe things that will guarantee the always reading of the data. For example, backup sensors. And the other plots are plots that are interesting only for biologists because they're interested in the temperature and atmospheric gases amount. Moving to the ML.
Actually, on the ML results, you can see what is presented in the presentation already. You can see the model table metrics. After that, you can see R2 comparison. After that, RMSE and MAE comparison for each model. And moving further, we can see that also the feature importance is presented here. Oh, this is the interesting part. It is actually comparing actual and predicted points for each model. And we can see here that linear regression is not working very well. Moving to the model feature importance, we can see here that pressure is actually dominating. And also, I want to mention that the tree type is not very important in case of this model random forest. So actually, and you can see it on the next plot also that these trees are pretty similar in terms of photosynthesis.
And actually, on the spot, we can see the seasonality of the photosynthesis. We can see that in the autumn, the photosynthesis really drops down, and it's no point in counting it because the trees will not consume enough CO2 to actually sell it. It's one of the problems because for this like business. So we are only interested in summer and early autumn. Also, as again mentioned, one of the problems is this is data only for one branch of the trees. So this we can't assume for the whole forest. We can do it, but it will be very hard without any help from the biologists and physicists. So in the continuing work of the project, we want, if we do, we will try to find professors, maybe biology professors, physics professors that will help us to do it properly. So moving next. Sorry. Yeah. Future prospects.
Okay, so for our future prospects, like we have two main directions to work on. First one is to integrate like satellite derived data so that we can scale like from like we have currently data from one plot from one place in Russia, but like to be able to scale, we need to use like satellite data to be able to scale to a larger regional level. Second direction is about deploying the model to use a streaming architecture such as Kafka and Spark structured streaming, so that we can enable real-time carbon flux monitoring instead of like our current approach. So for participation, I mainly worked on the part of data engineering, like preparing the data, preparing the tables in PostgreSQL, doing like benchmarking, adding data to HDFS and so on. Artem mainly worked on the part of data analysis and doing the exploratory data analysis to find the main insights from the data. And Ivan worked on the part of machine learning, like training the model, doing the experiments, trying with hyperparameters and so on. And the dashboard is like mainly just a representation for the previous stages that we already worked. So in conclusion, in this project, we have built pipeline for forest photosynthesis prediction. Our approach mainly worked with minute level alignment, since it was like the most appropriate frequency for the data we had. We achieved quite good results, like we have like RMSE of around like 8.5 and like R2 square is like around 0.775, which is like quite good result, especially that we had not a lot of data with not a lot of like labeled data. And our final model also supports seasonal level carbon uptake estimation, so it can improve the reliability of carbon credit valuation. And that's it. Thank you for this.
Thank you for everything. Goodbye.
Thank you.